So yesterday, rookie Mason Wynn grabbed his first career base hit, and then his first career base hit ball was chucked into the stands by Pete Alonso. He felt so bad. We'll talk about that later. Ohtani, he hit a grand slam. The Angels turned a game-saving triple play, but did they win? We'll talk about that. Also, Fernando Tatis Jr. is feeling himself as of late. He had his signature home run and bat flip combination yesterday, and the Yankees season might officially be unsavable. I don't know if that's even a word, but it's unsavable. All of that in today's MLB Recap, a series in which we recap every single game almost every single day. And a reminder, use code Fuzzy on SeatGeek to save 20 bucks off concert tickets or baseball tickets. Now, we're going to do today's recap a little bit different. We're going to speed up the pacing and cut a lot of the fat. If you guys like this, let me know. But if you want to see full game highlights, also let me know. That's the game right there. Christian Encarnacion Strand, the rookie, he pummeled a walk-off home run. He wins it 1-0 over the Blue Jays. Toronto, they have the second best team ERA over the last 2 weeks, but they're bottom 7 in OPS. So I'm going to ask you guys a question. Would you rather see full game highlights where we talk about Barrios versus the Red starting pitcher, or would you rather just have me cut to the chase? Let me know. Now, before we talk about Bobby Witt Jr. doing crazy things again, we have some breaking news. The Reds are calling up super prospect Noelvi Marte. He's been a top 100 prospect since he was 18 years old. Now at 21, he's hitting .280 with 11 home runs and 18 stolen bases in just 92 minor league games. So many rookies on this Reds team. You have Andrew Abbott, Brandon Williamson, Ellie De La Cruz, Matt McClain, Spencer Steer. Now you have Encarnacion Strand, Noelvi Marte. I probably forgot someone, but they're just everywhere. Will Benson, I think, is still a rookie, maybe. So another example of me kind of cutting the fat and getting straight to the action. Bobby Witt Jr., he clutched up again to save the Kansas City Royals. His 2-run home run put the Royals up by 1, and the Royals, they handed the Cubs a terribly timed L. Now, as you can see in the NL wildcard, because Christian Encarnacion walked off the Jays and Bobby Witt Jr. handed Chicago an L, the Cubs are now out of the playoffs, and the Reds are in if the season ended today. So if we're going to talk about NL wildcard teams, we have to talk about the Marlins because they're in the thick of things as well. They faced off against the Dodgers, who have not lost in 11 games, but Miami, they popped off for 5 homers in this one. Soler, he bashed 2 of them in the first few frames, and sandwiched in between those 2 home runs from Jorge Soler, Mookie Betts hit his 32nd. Mookie is hitting .355 with the 177 OPS plus in the second half. But like I mentioned, Jorge Soler, he had 2 home runs. He has 8 home runs over his last 15 games. Shout out to Jake Bergerman, 430 feet on that 3-run tater. He and Josh Bell have been life-changing for the Marlins. The home run vibes, they were infectious apparently, because even Jacob Stallings, who was awful, he got in on the home run action just his second of the year, and there's home run number 5. Jazz, he had a 3-run home run in the 4th inning. He has 26 home runs and 28 stolen bases with a near 130 OPS plus over his last 120 games. Miami, they got to keep grinding out these W's because the battle for that final wildcard spot is going to be epic. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button because the wildcard standings are going to change every single day. You don't want to miss one of these videos, but because we talked about the Marlins, the Reds, and the Cubs, we got to see what happened in the Brewers game. Holy slugfest. After Milwaukee put up a 3 spot in the 3rd, Texas, they did what they always do. They roared back with home runs from Nathaniel Lowe and Mitch Garver. Those home runs tied it at 3 when Adolis Garcia put the Rangers up 1 on a single in the 6th, and the lead's gone. Newly acquired Carlos Santana, he's been both terrible but amazing as a Brewer. He's hitting .162, that's awful, but he has 5 home runs and 10 RBIs in 18 games, so at least he makes it count when he does put the ball in play. That sparked a little rally. The Brewers got up to 9 runs on the day, just barely enough to hold off the Rangers' 8 runs. Devin Williams, he's up to 29 saves. He has a 1.5 ERA, and the Brewers, they stay 2 games ahead of the Reds for first place in the Central, but then again, the Cubs, they're right there as well. Lots of wild card action, so let's go ahead and talk about some other wild card teams, the Angels, the Mariners, and the Red Sox. Let's talk about the Red Sox first because they're taking on the Yankees, and here we go. Masataka Yoshida, he is a dude. Like, the World Baseball Classic was 100% not a fluke. This guy can flat out rake. He's hitting .302 with 13 home runs, 60 RBIs as a 30-year-old rookie. Just a special talent. I wish he would have been in the big leagues a whole lot sooner. RBI singles from Devers and Turner kind of flipped the game on its head, and there's another RBI for Yoshida. It's 7-0 in the blink of an eye. Brian Bayo, he was excellent. He held the Yankees to 1 run over 6. He had a tough little stretch over the last few weeks, but he has a quality start in 2 of his last 3. Aaron Judge, he saved a little bit of the Yankee dignity. He has 23 home runs. He has a whopping 182 OPS plus, but as the Red Sox improved to 6 games over 500 with this W, the Yankees, they dropped to 2 games under 500. Okay, so earlier we saw the Blue Jays get walked off by the Reds, and Toronto came into that game just a half game ahead of the Mariners. So if the Mariners can beat the mighty Astros, they'll have a playoff spot for the first time this year. J-Rod, he understood the assignment. He ripped the cover off another baseball, his 21st of the season. He had 4 base hits again. That's 3 consecutive games with 4 or more more base hits. He's hitting .470 with 21 RBIs over his last 13 games. Just mind-blowing. Mike Ford, he ran into a home run as well, his 12th of the season. The rookie Bryce Miller and the rest of the Mariners pitching staff only needed one run because Bryce Miller, he tossed 6 1/3 shutout on just 2 base hits. He has spurts of being unhittable, and then he gives up 20 runs over 30 innings. Andres Munoz, he closed out the game for his 7th save of the year. The Mariners right now are officially in the wild card, and the Blue Jays are out of it. Shohei Ohtani is having one of the most mind-numbing and mind-bending seasons, not just in MLB history, but in sports history. That grand slam was his 43rd home run of the year. He's on pace for 57 home runs and 22 RBIs. He's number 1 in triples, home runs, walks, on base percentage, slugging, OPS, and OPS plus. And since 2020 as a starting pitcher, he has a 2.85 ERA and 540 strikeouts in just 427 innings. I mean, the only problem is he's on the Angels. I mean, obviously Tampa Bay, they're no slouch. So them storming the castle and making a comeback, it makes sense. As Josh Lowe, he had 2 RBIs, and then hard-hitting Harold Ramirez, those last 2 swings from him made it 6-5 Tampa, when thankfully Brandon Drury, he tied it back up, let the madness ensue. The Halos turned a triple play in the 9th inning. They saved the game momentarily. They have to win this game, right? Remember what I said? We're talking about the Angels. Luke Raley, he had an RBI single. Josh Lowe had his 3rd RBI, and Rene Pinto had his 2nd RBI of the game. That loss right there sends the Angels to 7.5 games back of a wild card spot. They're 4-12 since the deadline. I don't think there's enough time. Even with Mike Trout coming back, I think they're done. We had a pretty wild game down in Washington between the Phillies and the Nationals, but before we talk about that, real quick, a doubleheader between the Tigers and the Guardians. Yeah, things were looking pretty bad for Cleveland early. Get it? Because the bad man, Akil Baddoo, he socked his 8th home run of the year, and Detroit, they teed off for 3 runs in the 1st inning. Kerry Carpenter, he is so underrated. And then the future Hall of Famer, Miggy, he drove an RBI number 1,868. He is 12th all-time in RBIs. Just wanted to give you guys a quick fun fact from Fuzzy. The rookie Gavin Williams, he did settle down to throw 4 shutout innings after that terrible first, but Tarek Skubal, he was nasty. 7 strikeouts over 6 innings for the Tigers. He's honestly one of my favorite starting pitchers to watch in all of baseball. Even as a Guardians fan, I can tip my cap to him and say, I like that guy. Jake Rogers, he has 15 home runs. The Tigers, they do end up taking game 1. What about game 2? Cleveland deployed another rookie starting pitcher, just rookies left and right. I mean, they're just everywhere on this Cleveland team. Xavier Curry, this kid is also disgusting. 6 punch-outs over 6 innings. He's down to a 3.2 ERA, so they have rookies of Gavin Williams, Tanner Bybee, Logan T. Allen, Xavier Curry. Those guys have basically put the team on their back over the last month and a half. The Guardians, they were held scoreless through 7, and finally, they broke through in the 8th inning. Another rookie came to play. Brian Rocchio, he was 0 for 6 with 6 strikeouts coming into this at-bat. Huge for his confidence, and so is that right there. Rookie Will Brennan, he played a 2 on a long double, and yes, another rookie, Gabriel Arias with an RBI single. So the Guardians, all they have to do is cross their fingers and hope that Emmanuel Clase, who has not been good this year, does not implode. He doesn't. He has 33 saves, which is crazy to say. He hasn't been good, but he has 33 saves. It's just kind of luck at this point. So Pablo Lopez came into this next game against the Pirates with a nice little scoreless streak. I think he's gone 12 consecutive innings without allowing a run to score. Let's see if he can keep that up. Michael A. Taylor, he's up to 16 home runs. He gave Pablo a lead to work with, and Pablo, he only needed 1 run though because he threw 6 more shutout innings. He has now gone 19 straight innings without allowing a run to score. Over his last 6 starts combined, he has a 1.2 ERA and 42 strikeouts in 37 innings. The Twins, they ended up with 5 runs after RBIs from Jorge Polanco, and I think his name is Kyle Farmer. I almost said Buck Farmer. I get the 2 confused. I'm pretty sure it's Kyle Farmer. They're 8th in team ERA on the season, and they're 10th in OPS as an offense over the last month. The Minnesota Twins have a 5-game lead in the AL Central. Can they be a sneaky team in the playoffs? Let me know. Here we go, a crazy game down in Washington. The Phillies gave Michael Lorenzen, who's coming off a no-hitter by the way, a huge 6-1 lead to work with. Schwarber, he had his first of 2 home runs on the night to make it 6 runs, but Lorenzen, he got lit up after that. You had RBI singles from Jake Alou and Blake Rutherford that set up this insane moment from the youngster CJ Abrams. Washington is now leading this game. CJ Abrams had 7 home runs and 14 stolen bases in the first half. He has 5 home runs and 19 stolen bases in the second half already. He has 17 stolen bases over his last 30, which would put him on pace for a 91 stolen base season over a full 162 game schedule. There's Schwarber again to make it a 1-run game. He has 32 home runs and a negative WAR. He can become one of 13 players ever to have 30 plus home runs but a negative WAR on the season. Cal Finnegan, he closed it out. He has 20 saves. The Nationals offense has been really good. They have the 6th best OPS in baseball the last 15 days. If they can get Strasburg Strasburg and Cade Cavalli healthy in 2024, I like the Nationals. So the San Francisco Giants offense has been pretty putrid over the last month, and things got worse last night because they had to face Spencer Strider. Eddie Rosario and Austin Riley, they both clutched up with RBI base hits, and then Michael Harris, he drove in the final 2 runs of the game. Harris, he went 4 for 5, by the way, but the story of the game was Spencer strikeout Strider, 7 shutout innings, only 1 base hit allowed. He struck out 10 Giants over those 7 frames, so that's back-to-back shutouts. He has 16 strikeouts and 0 earned runs over his last 14 innings. He's 14-4 on the season. He's number 1 in strikeouts. By the way, the Giants, over the last 30 days, they're hitting .207 as a team with a .601 OPS. Both are the worst in baseball. They've been terrible, putrid, stinky, whatever adjective you can think of that's bad. That's the 2023 Giants in the second half. Here we go, some drama between the Cardinals and the Mets, but it wasn't intended drama. We'll talk about that in a second. Brandon Nimmo, he launched his 18th home run of the season, and New York starting pitcher Joey Lucchesi, he had a strong game. He tossed 5 2/3 shutout with 5 strikeouts. He only gave up 4 hits the entire night. The 4th hit, his final hit given up, caused some controversy though. Mason Wynn, he laid out his first career base hit, and then Pete Alonso, he was trying to ask Joey Lucchesi if he wants the ball back. He said no. So Pete Alonso threw it into the stands, something that he's done a bunch of times, but he felt awful because he just completely forgot that was Mason Wynn's first base hit. Now, Mason Wynn did get that ball back, so there was not really much to apologize for, but Pete Alonso, he said this after the game.
I know it sounds stupid, but it's just a bad brain fart. I know throwing the ball in the stands, that robs him of a kind of a really special moment. That's a really bad mistake, and it's completely unintentional. I feel horrible about it. I feel really bad. I'm really sorry, and I'm gonna try and talk to him and get him something for tomorrow as an apology.
If you still think that was on purpose, you are just a massive hater, and you should probably rethink your life because you just seem like a sad person. Anyways, Jeff McNeil, he ran into a barrel 400 feet on that 3-run tater. He's hitting .321 over his last 14 games, and the Mets, they are winners of 3 in a row. I think 4 of their last 5, but they're still 7 games back of the wild card. The O's and the A's were facing off. Gunnar Henderson and Cedric Mullins, they did a lot of the heavy lifting down in the Coliseum. Mullins, he grabbed 2 RBIs on a single, and Gunnar Henderson went 440 feet on that 2-run blast. He is now officially in the 20 home run club as a rookie. He made it a 3 RBI day on a single in the 4th, and Baltimore, they're going to win easy 9-2. Now the question is, who's going to be the AL Rookie of the Year? Gunnar Henderson is the front runner right now, but Boston, they have Yoshida and Casas. Cleveland has Tanner Bybee. Josh Young, I know that he hurt his thumb, but he's still in that conversation as well. He's going to get votes. Volpe, he could be in the rare conversation of a rookie to have 20 home runs and 20 stolen bases with great defense in one season. So yeah, a lot to consider. I see why people were so high on this rookie Brandon Pfaadt coming into the Diamondbacks 2023 season. He's been torched, like absolutely lit up all season long, but he's disgusting. He kept up with Seth Lugo all night long, and he actually outdueled the veteran. Pfaadt, he went 7 shutout innings, only allowed 1 base hit. He is going to be a key piece in the Arizona turnaround, but as soon as he came out the game, San Diego, they immediately turned around the game and they took over. Ha-Seong Kim, he is having one of the greatest 5-tool seasons in recent memory. He's hitting over .280 with 15 home runs, 27 stolen bases, and a whopping 17 defensive run saves, a 17 DRS. Then Tatis, he connected on a signature Tatis home run. He knew it was gone. He had some fun with that bat flip and the home run trot. That was his 20th home run, so he is now one of 7 guys in baseball with 20 doubles, 20 home runs, and 20 stolen bases while playing the best defense of any right fielder in baseball. With this W, the Padres are now 59-64. They have the 5th best team ERA in baseball, but they're bottom 6 in team OPS because Xander Bogaerts and the bottom half of that Padres lineup, they've been terrible. Xander, he's hitting .260 with the 106 OPS plus. That's not very good for Xander standards. White Sox fans, close your eyes. Colorado, they unlocked some auto home run cheat code in this one. I mean, just kidding. They got to face Michael Kopech, so that's the cheat code in itself. Rookie Ezekiel Tovar, he has 14 home runs. He just turned 22 a few weeks ago. He plays platinum defense at shortstop or wherever you put him. All-Star Game MVP Elias Diaz, he connected on a 2-run home run, and that's just tough for Michael Kopech. Ryan McMahon, he demolished a 3-run home run, 435 feet. He has 21 home runs and a .340 on base percentage. He's also going to win his first Gold Glove, so he will be dethroning Nolan Arenado, I think for the first time in 10 years. 28 home runs from Michael Kopech is the most allowed in all of baseball. Brendan Rodgers, he's looking very healthy. He has 5 extra base hits and 7 RBIs over his last 4 games. Starting pitcher Peter Lambert, he had himself a day 2. He held the White Sox to 1 run over 7 innings. He struck out 5 as the Rockies completely embarrassed the 48-74 Chicago White Sox. I am so sorry, White Sox fans. On paper, you should have been way better, but I don't know what it is, but the vibes are just off down in the South Side. Yeah. There you go. So before we do today's Immaculate Grid, this one is going to be a lot of fun because we have some stat categories. Let's give a quick update on the wildcard standings. Like we mentioned, the Mariners are now ahead of the Blue Jays by a half game. The Red Sox, they're still fighting at 3 games back, when you have the Yankees and the Angels at 7 and 7.5 games back. In the National League, because the Cubs lost and the Reds won, the Reds are back in the playoffs, but they're tied with the Marlins. So how that works is that if the Marlins and the Reds are tied at the end of the season, whoever had the better record between the Marlins and the Reds season series, they will make the playoffs. So the Cubs are 1 game back, the Diamondbacks are 2 games back, and the Padres are 5 games back, and then the Mets 7 games back. They've won 3 in a row. All right, today's Immaculate Grid. This is actually going to be a fun one because we have some stat categories. An all-star who had a 30 home run, 30 stolen base season. Didn't Christian Yelich do that back in the day? I'm almost positive that Christian Yelich did this. 1%, look at me go. An all-star for the Yankees, an all-star for the Yankees. I could go with a lot of different guys. A Gold Glove for the Yankees. I'm going to go Brett. Did Brett Gardner ever win a Gold Glove? Actually, I don't remember that, but an all-star for the Yankees. I'm going to go Brett Gardner because I want to get a low rarity score. Brett Gardner, 1%. An all-star for the Diamondbacks. Do not ask how I remember this. What's his name? Mantiply, I think, was the lone all-star just because the Diamondbacks were so bad a few years ago. Yeah, 2%. Yo, this is looking really good. A 300-plus average season for the Diamondbacks. I could go with Marte. I know Ketel Marte had an insane season a few years ago. 12%. That ruined my rarity score right there. A 300-plus average season for the Yankees. Bernie, I'm going to go Bernie Williams. He also won a Gold Glove. Maybe I should save, but now I'm going to go Bernie Williams, 6%. So we have a 300 batting average season, 30 home runs, and 30 stolen bases. Cedric Mullins, I think, had 30-30. I don't know if he actually had a 300 average, though. I already used Christian Yelich. I know Barry Bonds has done that multiple times. Brady Anderson had 50 home runs and 20 stolen bases, so it can't be him. It can't be Eric Davis. I don't think he hit 300. I'll have to come back to that one. A Gold Glove for the Diamondbacks. Didn't, what's his name? AJ Pollock? Did AJ Pollock do that back in the day? I think AJ Pollock had a Gold Glove back. Did he? 4%. I knew that he won a Gold Glove. So we have a Gold Glove for the Yankees. I think Jose Trevino won one last year. He almost won a Platinum Glove, or maybe he did win. Jose Trevino, 4%. This is looking really good. A Gold Glove and a 30-30 season. It's got to be Barry Bonds, right? So I'm going to go Barry Bonds because he won a bunch of Gold Gloves. He had a 30-30 season. 27%, so that ruined my rarity score. A 30 home run season with 30 stolen bases and a 300 batting average. All right, let me try and think of some 30-30 seasons. I don't know. Did Vladimir Guerrero Jr. ever do that? Matt Kemp, I can't remember. Did Matt Kemp hit over 300? I don't know. It could be Matt Kemp. It could be Vladdy. It could be Alfonso Soriano. I don't know if Jose Canseco had a 300 batting average when he had that 40-40 season. I know, who else was in the 40-40 season? Alfonso Soriano, Jose Canseco, Barry Bonds, I think A-Rod. I'm going to go Alex Rodriguez just to be safe. Alex Rodriguez, please. Yes! A 68 rarity score. That's pretty good. Sorry that this recap came out a little bit later than normal. It was a big recap, but I tried to condense it as best as I could. But thank you guys for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Click that subscribe button. We post these almost every single day. And also, my gaming channel, Fuzzy Gaming. Go subscribe to that as well. See you guys over there.